This morning we had some really good debates, good presentations. It is important for us to face the harsh facts of our brutal reality in terms of what we've been asked to do. And our terms of reference are very clear in what we've been asked to do, to consider the type of directly elected mayor best suited for Dublin and what local government structures are best suited to Dublin, and make recommendations to our elected representatives in the houses of the Oireachtas. So that's our job, and we're going to do our job. Then it's up to the legislature, who are the TDs, the senators, to draft that policy and to push it through. But we have a job to do, and we're going to do it. And part of that is looking back on the lessons we will have been learned from another great city and county in Limerick. And it's a pleasure for me to have with us this afternoon Tim O'Connor. Thank you. Now, Tim is one of those extraordinary people whose name you haven't heard of. And that was probably Tim reflecting on the delayed pause there. But Tim has played an important role in many aspects of public life, and indeed that has had an influence on us all in the island of Ireland. Tim has been one of the key architects of the peace process. He's a man who has transformed the relationship between Ireland and the people of New York in the USA during his time as consulate. And he's a former Secretary General to Uachtarácht na hÉireann, Mary McAleese. Tim is one of Limerick's most famous sons, and he's been heavily involved in Limerick initiatives such as the City of Culture, tourism, education, the business community in Limerick, and more recently, the proposal to elect a mayor in Limerick. So it's very apt that we have, based on this morning's session, that we have Tim with us. So please give a warm assembly welcome to Mr. Tim O'Connor.
Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you very much, everybody, for the warm welcome. I know I'm the graveyard. Immediately after lunch, you're tired. It's Saturday, the sun is shining. So I'm a recovering civil servant, okay? So we get a pretty tough press. Let's say it's not easy, you know. It's not easy being a civil servant. Hal Roach, the famous comedian, the younger people probably won't know, but those of my age will, he had a terrible joke, which was, I have 3 brothers, 2 still living and 1 in the civil service. So that kind of gives you the idea. So it's not an easy lot. But anyway, I'm here today to join. And the first thing I want to say is, obviously, thanks to your wonderful chair, who's doing a fantastic job. And I think we should give a round of applause to our chair, because he thanks everybody, you know. He's doing a fantastic job. And also, of course, Art, my great friend Art O'Leary and the team. I do want to say from Limerick, Art was mentioning earlier there about Dublin having 7 All-Stars in 2019. If it's okay early on that I might mention that last year Limerick had 12 All-Stars in the hurling. But look, we won't get into that.
14 in total.
No, I know, yes, thank you. I suppose I want to say something about yourselves as well. I've been here since the very beginning today. I'm hugely impressed with you. I know it's a big challenge that you've been asked to undertake, but honest to God, you are about the work of the nation, and every single one of you, I pay tribute to you. And the other thing I'd say is that, you know, we've just turned the page on the first century of statehood, and the chair mentioned that this morning, but I just want to mention it again. The point that we're at, that you're doing this work, we've just completed a century of statehood. So I often think of this time 100 years ago. So what were our forebears, the people like us, doing this time 100 years ago? Answer, by the way, we were beginning the civil war against each other. And literally in these weeks. And the following few, and that lasted nearly a year. And that was the beginning. That's how our state was founded. And out of that terrible time, in many ways, over the following generations, people built this state. And today we are living in the most, in the most amazing times in many ways. So we do think back to all of that, and we think back to the foundations of this. And I was saying to the chair earlier, you know, that I heard this phrase from an American friend of mine: our primary responsibility as human beings is to be good ancestors. is to be good ancestors. And I think that's what our founding generations gave to us. And now we have an opportunity as we begin the second century of statehood, to think about how we can be good ancestors. So I heard somebody this morning having a lovely new child, congratulations. And, just think about that kid growing up now over the next, and their kids. And so we are doing the work here in this, and you are doing the work here that's going to define the kind of lives that they're going to have. So it is very important work. But I want to say something else to you. As somebody, it's messy work, okay? So sometimes I use analogies and think of the Michelin star restaurant. So the outcome is going to be the Michelin star food. But I can tell you, you should have seen the kitchen half an hour earlier. You guys are in the kitchen, flour everywhere. It's messy, it's contradictory, and that's just the way of it. And I suppose for me, my own background is I'm from West Limerick. I live in Dublin. I've lived in Dublin most of my adult life, and I love living in Dublin. But I'm from Limerick. I'm very proud of Limerick as well. I grew up in West Limerick. I'm the eldest of 12. So can you imagine that? 10 boys, 2 girls. So I had to battle early on. You eat fast, or otherwise you don't eat, and so on. And then I left with my leaving cert in 1969, and I left Limerick. And I wasn't involved in Limerick again for another 43 years until 10 years ago. Michael Noonan asked me to get involved in a project in Limerick, the City of Culture. And so in those 43 years between 1969 and 2012, I was out making my way, making my living. I joined the civil service in 1974. I joined the Department of Foreign Affairs in 79. And as the chair said, I was lucky enough to be involved in some big projects like working with Bertie Ahern, and I pay tribute to Bertie. He was a fantastic Taoiseach and boss of mine, 20 years ago. And then I ended up being Consul General in New York, the representative of Ireland in New York, a fantastic honour. And my final posting, I was another great honour. I was Secretary General to the President, Mary McAleese, for 3 years. And then in 2010, I retired, and I started doing other things. But the reason I want to say that to you is that over the last 10 years, I've had the privilege of actually working closely up and down that M7, working closely with Limerick and Limerick Council, and doing a whole range of things with Limerick. And can I tell you, after 36 years as a central government guy, I have become a convert to local government. That's my actuality that I'm saying. So I have about nearly 50 years experience, and I'm saying to you now, I know this is difficult, I know this is challenging, I know this is complex, but I'm telling you, as somebody who's been a central government guy, I am putting my flag down. I am a convert to local government. And I think that, what have I found? I just say, I think the immediacy of it, it's on the ground, it's connected directly into people's lives. So I've kind of made up this soundbite. It says that local government is the arm of the state closest to the kitchens of Ireland and the businesses of Ireland. So think about that. It's the arm of the state closest to the kitchens and the businesses of Ireland. And think about the phrase local government. The word government is in there, folks. Local government. So I think that the opportunity for local government to act as a coordinator, the way it involves stakeholders. I see in Limerick the way, of course, Limerick has had a great few years, including in the hurling. Obviously, did I mention the hurling? And so I just think it's a place that's vibrant and alive, and it's turned itself around. I think amalgamating the two councils was great. I'm very impressed with, as I say, with the commitment, and I say this to the councillors here as well. I work very closely in the implementation advisory group for the Limerick Mayor with the councillors. I think I have great respect for what the councillors are doing, and I have great respect for what the executive is doing, but also the ability to mobilise the stakeholders on the ground in the community. And so so I suppose it's not surprising then that you've heard this today, that over the last number of years, government is beginning to use local government a lot more. So we've had a project like that I was involved in called The Gathering in 2013. I was the chair of the advisory board, where we had this very cheeky Irish thing. We decided to invite all 70 million of our people around the world to come back in 1 year, and it was a very successful project. But the local government and local authorities were heavily involved in that. They were also heavily involved in 2016 in organising the centenary, and then more recently you had what local government did in terms of COVID. And I'll just give you one example. when COVID hit us all, one of the things that the government had to do quickly was get support to businesses. But central government is not directly involved with a lot of business on the ground, the hairdressers, the barbers, the pharmacists, those businesses that actually don't need the state in a daily way. But so how are the government going to get support quickly to those businesses? And the answer is through the local government rate collection system. So instead of collecting money from businesses through the rates, they sent the money back down to businesses quickly through the rates collection process. There's an example of architecture of local government that could be used, and we all know how important that was in terms of COVID. And now, right now, another big development right now is Ukraine. The Ukraine and the Ukrainian. Ukraine, the large number, I think 35,000, and Ireland's very generous response to that. And again, local government is heavily involved in that. So I think that, therefore, that my experience has been, therefore, that there's a huge more potential, I think, that can be developed. And I'm saying this is a central government guy. And I think that I will say as well, as an outsider coming into the process, I went in, you heard from Graham Doyle there this morning, the Secretary General of the Department of Local Government. When I went into the Custom House in 2019 to start working with the officials there in terms of this, I found tremendous positivity. Actually, I was very surprised because I'm a generalist. I'm coming in. I was asked to take on this job, and I'm at the stage of life now. I don't want to be hanging around the place. I don't want to, there's a lot less years ahead of me, guys, than there is behind me. So I'm in a hurry. So when I come in to sit in the Department of Local Government, the first day in the Custom House back in, I think it was November 2019, to take on the job of chairing this directly elected mayor for Limerick group. I was interested to hear, are they serious? And the answer back was absolutely. So I am saying to you, you can trust that whatever you come up with here, I believe you can trust that whatever you come up with will be taken seriously. And I think there's a right across both in terms of political life. Now, I completely respect what Bertie is saying to us. My Taoiseach, my ear Taoiseach, my former Taoiseach, that was a challenging thing, but that's part of the complexity of the kitchen. And your job is going to have to be to listen to all of that, to take account of it and try to frame the way forward. We set up, and I'm conscious of the time, Chair, we set up the implementation advisory group then. That was set up in, and we worked for about 10 months, very like yourselves here now, and we saw a whole range of people. We had a very diverse group ourselves, about 15 of us, not as large as you, but we had about 10 months of work, and we worked through the issues, and we came up with what we believe is quite an ambitious charter for how this can get done. And can I just say something? We're not sort of inventing some new amazing wheel here, folks, in going for a directly elected mayor. This has been done everywhere, all around the world. Are they stupid in New York? Are they stupid in Berlin? Are they stupid in London? Are they stupid in Manchester? This is what these places, and there are thousands of examples of it. And I suppose having worked in New York and seen, like, if I ask the question, what role does the mayor of New York play in the life of New York? Answer: huge, fundamental. And I suppose my idea from all of that coming into the role of the chair of the mayor, the Limerick Mayor Group, I felt that actually the mayor needs to be at the heart of everything that affects the well-being of Limerick. So that's effectively how we approached, that's how we basically approached the task. So to me, and I'm throwing in another thought to me, the directly elected mayor becomes the focal point. The directly elected mayor is the advocate, the champion, the single voice. And one of the elements that we put into our report is, and the government have approved that, and I hope it'll be in the legislation. By the way, the legislation is going through at the moment. Just say to them, we'd be hoping that it'll be through for Limerick by the end of the year, hopefully, with a view to an election perhaps next year. So so this train is leaving the station, and this is going to happen. We're going to do it. And I suppose one of the powers that we wrote in that I want to put in front of you today is the power to convene. The power to convene. That means that, to a certain extent, that could be called a soft power. But I can see that right now, who has the power to convene in a city and in a place? And the answer is right now, nobody actually has the full powers. Because the councillor, and they'll, I'm sure the colleagues here, they obviously act collectively, very importantly, but they represent their ward. The mayor is elected by the other councillors and is a one-year position and hasn't had powers devolved to them, and therefore there are challenges about that. Obviously, you heard with the officials, the executive. Their challenge in terms of the ability to convene is that they don't have a mandate. They don't have an electoral mandate. So I believe that having the power to convene and bring people together, so we, in our report, we're saying that the mayor has the power to convene, the power to draw the vision for the place, and then to be able to present that. So our other soundbite is that the mayor has to have the mandate and the means that they need. So they have the mandate to be able to do the job, but they have to have the means to be able to deliver in it as well. And I suppose, and I was very interested to listen to, and you've very important and very learned experts working with you in your advisory group, and Breed Quinn and Derek and the team down there. And you heard from Mark Callanan this morning, very interesting from Mark as well. You know, this whole issue of how are we going to divide the powers. Can I put a thought in front of you that it's a bit utopian, but sure, why not? We are dreaming for the next generation and for the next century, and we want to be good ancestors. To me, after 50 years of foraging out in the field and looking at central government, looking at local government, I actually think that the best arrangement between the centre and the local is power sharing. Power sharing between the centre and the local. Because I completely agree with everything our experts this morning were saying, and Graham Doyle and Mark and others, you know, in talking about. There are clearly certain things that can only be done at the centre and that have to be done at the centre. But obviously, and your councillors here will tell you this, the councillors are on the ground. They're literally in the kitchens and in the business, and so local government has the ability, therefore, though, to be right at the coalface. And I know Ireland, at 5.1 million people, I was talking to Sang and Niffy there earlier, who are working here with you, and they come from countries that are just vast compared to ours. But at the same time, let's face it, there's a big difference between Dublin 2 and West Limerick or West Kerry or West Donegal. And so the ability to combine the kind of the immediacy, the connectivity of local government led by the directly elected mayor on the ground to central government, to me, and all of that leads to what is the goal here? The goal is the best possible delivery of public services to the people. That's actually what the core here is. How can we deliver the best possible public services to the people? And so to me, I think it's this notion of power sharing between the centre and the local. Now, how you're probably saying, oh my God, he is adding another complexity to us, but I have great faith in you guys. So I think that if we can figure a way to do that, and that's going to take time. The other thing I would say is that what is really important here is that we begin. We make a start. We've been talking about this now for a long time. We need to get moving. And I actually believe that, I know that, you know, again, another of my analogies is the train and the tracks. So the whole process of creating a directly elected mayor is like building the tracks for this. We've made that decision now. We certainly made it in regard to Limerick. And now we're talking about the train. And the train is the directly elected mayor. But look, if we're going to have to wait until we figure out, are we going to put special wheels in it, are we going to have a super duper Wi-Fi or whatever, look, let's get started. Let's get the train on the track. And I believe then that is the most important. Otherwise we'll be paralysis by analysis. So I think at a certain moment we have to cut and go and do it. And to me, the directly elected mayor as that focal point, the champion, the advocate, the power to convene, the person on the ground who can, I think that's so to me, the directly elected mayor is what I call the golden thread that connects the communities, the vibrant communities on the ground through local government to the state, to the central state and back down again. And that's the prospect, I think, that we have here. Look, I could go on for a long, long time. As you can hear, will he ever shut up? But the chair is starting to throw me the beady eye. So I'm going to draw to a close. But can I say there's two other things that, certainly from, just to put out there, we all know we're in a difficult situation at the moment, if I could mention the Brexit word and the protocol, and relations with our near neighbours, shall we say, we're starting to talk about putting up fences again. So, having worked very closely with our neighbours for a long time, things are not great at the moment, but I'm an optimist, and hopefully we'll get through that. But you've heard from Andy Burnham. I think that in the post-Brexit relationship between Ireland and the UK, one of the great new arenas will be actually directly elected mayors engaging with each other, and it'll be a whole new way, I hope, that Ireland and Britain can be working together into the future. And of course, in Limerick, we have in 5 years' time, we have the Ryder Cup coming, so we're all getting ready. We're out painting and whitewashing and everything. But I think the directly elected mayor can be a fantastic driver for all of that for us as well. So look, I wish you well. I think you're a fantastic group of people. It's an honour to be in front of you. I wish you well at your work. You have a big responsibility on behalf of all of us, because even though I'm here speaking from Limerick, Dublin, let's face it, is our capital. I'm very proud of it as well. You are to stay with the trains, you are the big locomotive of the country. We need you. If you're doing well, the rest of us are going to do well. And so I do wish you very, very well in all that lies ahead, and anything we can do to support you. And remember, our primary responsibility as human beings is to be good ancestors. Thank you.